So I will explain why we have this idea of these seminars, let's say. First of all, because when I read the document of the students, I think that at the end, you are a little bit shy and lazy to develop your managerial impact. And the last thesis defense I have last Friday with a Chinese student. Yes, he covered a lot of things, but it has not give us the relevant information to explain how it was important for the sector, for his enterprise, and so on. We have the impression that at the end, you didn't dare to say what you have found and the impact it can have on the business. The second element is that I'm a professor in the business school. And we have been reaccredited this year for the two major accreditation as CSB and EQUIS. And the question as regards research was following. At least, why are you writing articles that a very reduced numbers of people are reading? That is, the academic articles, which are well ranked because you are obliged to do it in some sense. But you forget that in your job, there is a word that is important, and this word is business. So that means if you do research, it's because you think that this research could have an impact on the business world. And it's true that we are now entering, and it's more relevant for business school than for university, in a process of accreditation where you have to publish articles. But in fact, when you do it, our first intention is not to do a revolution in business world. And in your case, you are doing a DBA, and that means that this question is at the core of your interest. You are all people that are accustomed to this business world, and we are going to ask you the reverse of PhD students. That means to take a little bit of abstraction, to build up model that can apply to this business, and to analyze this question. And at the end, you forget to go backwards. So that means when you have built up your model, you have your results, this is not the end. At the song say, this is the end. No, it's not. You should go backwards and say, okay, now I have all these results. What could I do to implement them on the real business world? And this is the value of your work, and also the value added if you want to publish your results. Because a PhD will have less detail to produce in the document than you have. And you should benefit from this opportunity to do it. Okay? So, first of all, always think that you have gold in your hand and you should be capable of using it. Okay? This is the first point. The second point is that last year we discussed with Professor Kalika that you are here in Lyon in the international seminars, and you will meet professors coming from all over the world, and you will meet also students who are in the same position than you, And you could discuss things with another students and exchange, communicate on your results and see how you can improve what you have done. And in fact, what you could say to a student is not what you are going to say to your supervisor. And it's all the width of what you can do. Okay? And I remember when I was doing my own work in PhD, it was in an international institution. And this meeting with my colleagues during my research, even when I spent nights in the Ecolab doing economic research work, was something that I will never forget, because they can give you ideas, hints that you can use and then share with your professor, and it will help us a lot. It will help you to progress a lot. So this was also, and I think you do it, very few of you do it. First, because you are more obsessed to find another professor that can tutor you or give you advice. And perhaps because you do not have enough time to do it. But you should take this time. I think it's really an opportunity to do so. So 2 elements. One, to take opportunity that you are in a research community where you have people from the business that can help you to build up managerial recommendation. And second, also, to produce something different from what is expected from traditional academic research. And if you want afterwards to publish in journals, probably your target will be professional journals. And you could not write for professional journals as you write for traditional academic journals. So the part that you will develop has to be more strong, more deep, with insight that you can use and do. The second thing that seems to me interesting, and I think we are going to try to do it now with exchange with students, is also when you exchange with people to make transdisciplinary question emerge. Okay? So imagine that you have somebody who works on health sector, hospital, okay, and he will try to see how the supply chain is organized and how the practice are going to take place, okay, and this is his or her research, okay. On the other side, you have another candidate who works on sustainability. So he will develop questions and on sustainable development, ESG, whatever you want to imagine. And as you present your own research, he will have another prism to analyze your research. So probably he will search this element in your research that you do not have even mentioned. And this new aspect could bring for you a new analysis that could enhance the way you could formulate afterwards your recommendation, etc. So let's try to work on an example. Could you present your research, what you have done, on what you want to work on, let's say, because you are in first year?
Yeah, so I want to work on a way to link artificial intelligence and organizational resiliency. So I want to improve the organizational resiliency through artificial intelligence. So how to use it. So,
Okay. What is your reaction on this topic when you listen to this topic?
What I first thought, how he will implement it, what are the measurements that he will use to prove that. Okay, that was the first reaction. Okay, it's a nice topic. Okay, because AI now is invading the world. So how can we take the best of AI to help organizations to be resilient? But first thing that I heard, okay, how he will measure.
Okay. What is your reaction with what she has said?
My reaction is, I think it will be through use cases eventually, that I will work on it in order to define or let's say suggest that link.
Also, what kind of resilience? Also,
Yeah.
Organizational resilience,
Yes.
supply chain resilience. Also, it's interesting to focus on.
Yeah, indeed. When we talk resiliency, indeed, there is the operational, which is related to logistics. There's also the financial. So indeed, maybe by working more on it, I will find it better to focus, for example, on the logistic resiliency or maybe the IT resiliency. So,
Other reaction to this?
It's typical subject.
yeah.
To this?
Maybe choose narrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
It's wide. Okay. It's
Yeah.
wide
Okay.
range.
So, by this simple example, you see that he has formulated something interesting, okay? You two, and even Rebecca, that don't know anything on the topic. And if you exchange a little bit on this, you will have an enormous amount of possibility. You can precise what you want to search. He's in first year, so he's not at the stage where he has going to do recommendation, but he will precise things, and it's open a new way to research, which could be of interest for your own topic. Okay, so this is something that is important because afterwards, when you want afterwards to formulate managerial recommendation, if you only focus on what you have done, which is normal, you spend 2 or 3 years, 4 years on this topic. So it's like your baby, and you don't want to leave it out because you want to protect the what you have found. But on the other side, it's very important that somebody else from outside propose you something different, and it can, hurt you. I said, oh, why I should not have thought to that before. And in the analysis you are going to do, you are going to produce something different. So this is what I call transdisciplinarity, etc., etc. And this is something you should bear in mind at each stage of your DBA. Okay, you are the one who know best the topic, that's for sure. But the other can open your mind on certain other possibility. And this other possibility could open new way of research or new way of interpretation and enrich what you could say on the managerial aspect. So the aim of these little seminars would be to clarify what is the value, the managerial value of your document. Don't forget that you are on DBA, and this is the core question, the real value added of what you do. Okay. Second, how you will transform your result in managerial recommendation. Okay. And third objective, to see how you can improve what you have done through the exchange between peers and between people who are on the same topic, and also who are on a very different topic, to have constructive feedback on what you have done. It's not a question to destroy what you have done, the question to go a step further. And this step further would make the difference. Okay? Is it clear? So, why did you have to do a research on the managerial impact of your of what you have done? The first element is to answer the expectation of organization. I mean, if you do not have anything to propose to organization, you miss one part of your work. The second objective, why you have to do that, is to have a work that is useful for the business and replicable for the business also, or completely different if it's a very specific sector and what you have done for this sector cannot be implemented for another sector. But these are elements that are very important to say, okay? And the third element is to increase the credibility and the value of your DBA. Because it's, in fact, for you, it's a real value for your work, okay? So, now, question, what is the managerial impact of your research? Tell me, what, globally?
It's so first of all, I need a short presentation. I work in a bank, and I'm also a professional teacher. So my aim is to prepare better future managers in banking.
Okay,
So the
perfect.
idea is what kind of tools I can use in order to train better these professionals.
Okay.
And using AI, etc., all the new technologies. And in order to carry on this project, I can use like a lab, the classes where I teach. And so I can use, I have 2 classes each year, so I can use like an app, one class no changes, and the other class I introduce some changes and new technologies, and checking how these professional students react and if they feel better, because otherwise I cannot test in the long run.
And you use what you have found with one group for another group or not?
I mean, one group no changes and the other group...
Yes, but if you do different sessions with different groups, what you learn from one group, are you going to use it for another groups?
Yes, the year after, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, in the same year, I have 2 classes.
Yes.
So the year after, we already can introduce some changes and see what are the positive effects on transferability of knowledge. Okay.
So this is important because when you are going to do your research, this is an issue that you have to mention. That means what you have done once could be useful for the next session.
Yeah, the real challenge is that we are talking about the past and in good cases, in good examples, about the present.
Yes.
But I have to think about the future. We have to... So that's difficult because also on the methodology I can use experimental design to see what's happening in the class, what is the reaction, etc. But in order to understand if this training is fit for the future, it's a big question mark.
Yes, but at
least I can try to introduce some changes in order to, for example, we talked also before during another session about the role of the teacher. Not classical lecture. I'm giving a lecture 1 hour. I talk alone. Then you take notes. But something like
Interactive.
yeah, interaction, gamification, using virtual reality for simulating real situations with AR, etc.
So that means when you do, you want to measure the managerial impact of what you are going to produce. You are not only going to take into account the analysis you have done on the present situation, but you are going to use what you have done in the past and what could be done in the future. So this is an element, in this case, that is important. Okay? So that means for the managerial impact, it will take decisions today that are based on past the decision, but who can influence future decision. Okay, so that means here you have the concept is going to teach, but also the way everything has taken place in the past that will take into account for the future, the present and for the future. If we take another example, what you want to, what is for you the managerial impact?
Actually, I'm watching the business gap based on the sustainability reporting mandated. So there is a lot of requirements, especially the ESG risk management. But in the managerial level, companies doesn't know exactly how to analyze the human rights risk and climate risk, so many risks, but I want to integrate all the risk at once. So I want to suggest some tools how to analyze at once.
So you pronounce a word that is important is manager. Do you think that what you said could be of interest only for the manager or also for other member of the company?
Yes, mainly it should be supporting for the business decision making for the corporations as a whole.
Okay. So here you have a second element, that is you are going to take, into consideration different partners in the organization, and these different partners in the organization could react differently to what you found and to the managerial question you are going to produce. So the managerial impact would influence the decision. In this case, you precise who is taking part of the decision. And probably it's not only one person, but several. It will impact the practice of the management, the everyday practice you do. So everyday practice for whom again? And then it will also impact the result of the organization. That means the output you will produce. So when you want to organize to produce something, you have to think differently and to imagine different level of analysis. First, what are the stakeholders I want to impact? And here you will have an enormous things to say on what is the impact of your findings as regards the managerial impact. So that means it's not only the CEO, it could be your employees, it could be your clients, it could be your supplier, etc., etc., etc. And at this different level, you will have to produce different elements of interpretation that will enrich this part of managerial impact. Second, when you have defined this, what kind of decision I'm going to take, and who is going to implement this decision. So you will say it's a strategical decision, it's a managerial decision, it would be a human resource decision, I mean, depending. And on this part, you will see that you have also a lot of things to say. And not only the 2 or 3 paragraphs you put at the end of your thesis. So you have the material, you know that. Then, what are the expected benefits of this process? What is the outcome? For which people? For whom? Okay? And here you will have all a part on applied research. Okay? And when you say what is the outcome, is it specific to this sector? Here you have education, here you have something else. Or, I mean, are those 2 sectors going at one point cross each other, and you will find invariant. If you found invariant, that means you will have to transform dramatically all the managerial aspect, and it's an extremely powerful result. I listen to you.
I am actually writing my managerial impact now, finishing my thesis, and thinking about what you are telling us now. I would need. My question is, should I be descriptive in my managerial impact? Because if I really want to go through each point I am writing now, I would need to write another thesis only about the managerial impact.
I mean, you should at the very beginning you will be descriptive, because you will retake what you have found and put it in a block of a recommendation, right? But you could do one step further and indicate in your managerial recommendation that you could analyze it much deeper, and it could be the object, I mean, the topic on another research. And in fact, it is not because you have done a DBA now that you will stop to do any research afterwards. So it's probable that you have found something that, as you said, you cannot completely develop now. But if it changed, imagine the practice of a sector, whatever, I don't know on which topic you are working, you could say, okay, this is done, but this is not the end. This is not the end. Even in the song say, this is the end, but it's not. Okay, so you could, at every time, continue to improve what you have done and go one step further. Explain something more on it. And then you will not only analyze your managerial impact, but also say to the other, if you want, we can continue. And you open paths or ways of research for the community. And in the community, I'm not only include the researcher, of course, but I'm include also the business. Because what is interesting in a business is that you work on normally all of you work on a business, right? But what you do could be of interest for another business, and they can say, okay, look, I have something to propose to you. I am in front of this question. I cannot solve it. Okay? You have solved part of the problems because you questioned that part. But you never question this part, which specific to my organization. And I would be very happy that we consider the fact that we can go one step further, the two of us. Would you accept? And this is the way the research progress also. I mean, you have not done something and then you stop everything. Yeah. In science, for example, you never stop to find new things. But it's exactly the same thing in business. That means you never stop to find new elements that can improve the system. So there is always a part that is descriptive, and you can avoid to do that. But you have to, if you want to have a good managerial impact section, you should go beyond these descriptive parts and propose an analytic model, or result, I don't know how to formulate depending on your case, and then propose, something that could happen in the future. And if it's happened in the future, it is because your research has limitation. It has limitation about the context, it has the limitation about the sector, it has the limitation because you have done in 4 years and not all the lifelong, etc., etc. And these limitations are avenues for future research after you. Okay? So this is something you can mention and it will give value to what you have done. And another thing that you have to mention is condition for success. So why you reach this conclusion and why it would be important to be successful for the business. But it is important for the business now, and the business has an evolution in a global world. So what is true now could be false tomorrow, or partly true tomorrow. And to be capable to say what, the limits and the condition of what in which you have worked are important. And they are important for generalization, but they are important also for you. Because if you have work on your own business, that means that you are not sure that what you have found now could be exactly the same in 10 years' time. Look, to give you an example, look what happened in the COVID. There is a pre-COVID and post-COVID, for sure, in everything. The most strong element could be human resource management with work that can be done home and not at in the office, okay? And it has been a revolution for most people, and now they want to go backwards, and it's extremely difficult to justify to all these persons who has worked from their home efficiently to say, no, you are not efficient anymore. You could say to them, we can improve or enhance your efficiency if you have a mixed situation where you work home and at the office, but you cannot say them working at home is inefficient. It's absolutely a nonsense. Okay, so these are things you have to mention, and there are events that can transform completely the way we do management. Okay, so this is something you could mention. Okay, we have to integrate anyway these elements because it has transformed the way we manage a certain number of things. But it is not because you have managed things that way in the past that you will still continue to do it. Okay, and this is part of your managerial impact also. Okay, is it clear? So, if we want to do a summary of everything and conclusion, first, what you should clarify if you want to have a good section, what have I found in my thesis? Okay.
Sorry, can you repeat?
What I have found in my thesis. That means theoretical aspects and empirical aspect. From this empirical aspect, I should know if what is absolutely specific to what I've done, but what can be generalized and in which context. Huh? Don't forget that you are on a DBA and not PhD. So you should say, okay, from a managerial aspect, I estimate that this result impact da 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 da. And as I said, try to be as exhaustive as you can. Not only to words, but on the stakeholders' point of view, on the managerial practice point of view, on if it depends on the site or the size of the society. It's not the same to discuss things for big company, small company, medium-sized company. Absolutely.
Family companies, French companies.
Exactly, because the way they manage risk, the way they manage their employees is different. As regards the ESG, for example, in big company, you will have companies that do only greenwashing because they are obliged to disclose a certain numbers of things, and they don't want that the market identify them not doing anything, so they will report things, but it doesn't mean that these reports are completely sincere. While in the other company, they can be more modest but more sincere. To give you an example. So try to be exhaustive on this part. Then try to also think of the output. These elements you have found bring you an additional part of wealth for the company, value added for the company, depends what you have learned, or a new product, more result. I cannot give you completely a receipt. I mean, it will depend on what you have done. Okay? And also try to open the door. Never close the door. That means, for this question, I'll open this door, and this door is still open. It is still open because what you have found could have consequences on other aspects, and they can do additional research. Or what you have found is positive on certain aspect, but not on the other, and some other research are needed. So you have to explain why, etc., etc., etc. And also try to find also things that could be of interest for practitioners and managers. Yes?
I am writing a managerial impact or managerial implications, and also, let's say, research like academic implications for my,
Both.
yeah.
But the most part in your case that you have to develop is the managerial aspects because you are on DBA. If you will be in a PhD, I would say, okay, in class, it's not forbidden that you do it. You could do it. But this part is more important. That means you build up a new model, and could this new model be implemented for in the future for other company?
My research can be applied to other companies, to other markets, to other countries, and to several different business.
So you have to mention that and to explain why.
And the managerial impact can also be applied and verified, let's say, researched as well in different business and different markets.
That's it. I hope it will help you, but don't forget that, I mean, for your particular research, you have to develop this element. I mean, it's important, and if you want afterwards to publish your research in professional journals, they will expect that. And probably remember that professional journal, normally they want shorter paper than an academic paper where you have to develop a stuff. But they want more precise things on what could change, I mean, the business. If you produce something that, I mean, we have done till years, why should I publish that? If you publish even in a case study something that is very different from what happened in the past, that interests me. And I would tell the community, look, we have done something extremely differently than we have done before. So, is it just a case by chance, but it has to be taken into account anyway? Or is it more than a case? And in this case, I have to explain why. Okay? I hope it's helped. I would send yes. Despite the fact that nothing is working, I would ask Frederic that he send you the file afterwards, after the seminars. Okay? Because it's a pity that I have done it and I'm not even capable of showing them. So it's very frustrating in some sense. So we have lunchtime now before the...
Thank you very much.